Hari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande. So, welcome to part 3 of Yoga, the Art of Play. Thank you all for coming. You who are here presently are the hardcore. Now, we've been doing a lot of talking and certain amount of theorizing and a bit of playing. And I think today I want to get us also doing a bit of writing. And for this, some of you may have notebooks or such, and some of you may not. And those of you who do not, we have a solution, but only now I'm remembering. We had a whole ream of paper and we had stacks of pens. I think he's going to, someone just ran out like he knows. Oh, maybe not. We have it all there? Okay. now we have some devotees on a mission to find paper. So that's good. How many of you were here on Tuesday? Okay, good. And those of you who were not here on Tuesday? Confession? No, that's... it's quite... Okay, we're all pacing ourselves. And we have to do it in various ways. Can some of you help me remember what we talked about on Tuesday? I know Tuesday was a long time ago. It was the day before yesterday. Writing a drama, yes. We talked about that. Anything else? Yes, Rama Priya. Right. That was okay. That was a kind of icebreaker, which was a bit of an extended icebreaker, where we revisited our possibly first meeting with Hare Krishna devotees, and then we took it to the next step of considering how we might represent that story as some sort of performance, right? Yes. Anything else what else did we do? I know, it was a long time ago. Yes?
Summarise derivations of the words, reenactment.
Oh, yes. You've made notes.
Yeah. And you talk about changing the costumes, those involved in the play, change the costumes.
Changing costumes? Yeah. Did we talk about changing costumes? I don't remember that. Maybe we did. Okay. Yes, reenactment, enacting. We had an example of this, or a couple of examples. Anyone remember what our examples were? Yes.
Was one of them like an art guide, so going to a painting of Krishna and then telling people about it?
Well, that was not. That was another example, an example for something else, but reenactment and. Well, we were also using the word recreation. Yes? Yes, the Ram Leela movie, and also the Ramayana in Ramnagar, yes? But yes, Ramanand Sagar's, yes, we talked about that also. The idea being there's something which we understand has occurred in ancient, or we may want to say super ancient times, and then this is described in, most famously, the Valmiki Ramayana, which is then rendered. Actually, there's many renderings of the Ramayana. Most famous in North India is the Tulsidas Ramcharitmanas, which is a highly, you could say, it's been highly injected in a much more explicit way than Valmiki Ramayana, with bhakti. Lots and lots and lots of bhakti. Also in the south, what do we have in the south? The famous Ramayana of the south? Kamban Ramayana, yes. Which also, I understand, is enriched with so much bhakti. So many sort of renderings or retellings of the story elaborations on the story, adaptations, actually all over Southeast Asia. There are traditions of Ramayana. That's a whole nother story, another topic. But the point was simply that you can watch a performance of the Ramayana, you already know the story, and still you want to see again. And it's like it's happening again. I got a hint from Gauralila. It sounded like he's saying they're working on some sort of Rama Lila. It's very conducive to performance. So, on that note, again, as a bit of an icebreaker, and here you can just pair up with whoever is you like. Just briefly, I was thinking this morning about Hanuman burning Lanka. We all know, everyone knows the story basically, yes? What happens? Hanuman allows himself to be caught in the Ashoka garden after he has spoken with Sita Devi. He allows himself to be caught. He's brought into the court before Ravana, who initially wants to kill Hanuman, but he's reminded that it's not dharmic to kill a messenger. And so he restrains himself, we can say. But he feels that Hanuman needs some sort of punishment, and so he tells his servants to alight his tail. And they pour some oil on his tail and light it on fire. And then, what does Hanuman do? He says, "Oh, great, thank you very much. This is a great opportunity to do what I've always wanted to do." He doesn't say that. And then he dances and prances and jumps all over Lanka and incinerates the entire island. Now, just for fun, let's see if we can come up with an idea or two ideas between you of how you might stage this. Now, here's my thought behind this. One of the things about drama that makes it so powerful is it ignites our imagination. Because so much of what goes on the stage is implying things which then the audience, in a sense, project or in some way imagine to fill the gaps, if you like, between the reality presented on stage and the way we understand things. So my thought is, can we think of ways that such a scene might be portrayed on a stage, just this one scene, in such a way as to ignite the imagination of the audience? Now you're all looking at me like, huh? What is it you want us to do? I'm trying to get your imaginative juices going, you know this expression. So maybe if you talk about it with each other, something will come out. Let's just do for a few minutes, okay? You can, in twos or threes or tens, however many together you like to be, can you think about this and see what comes out? Yes? Oh, yeah. Right. Yes, thank you. Such animated discussions. Now I'm really curious what you've come up with. Okay, anyone want to kick things off, as we say in English? Yes, okay.
Hare Krishna. So it would be a joint presentation with all of us saying something, but then, so the scene starts with Hanuman slapping Lankini because he's entering into Lanka, and he just slaps Lankini and she runs out shouting, "Oh my God, now Lanka is going to definitely fall apart." And the next thing Hanuman does is he just puts his hand over his stomach and he says, "Oh, I'm hungry. But then I have a job to do, but let's find Sita." So he goes looking for Sita. But then he's also tempted by the fruits, and then he sees there is this tree, and he climbs up thinking maybe he finds food there. But then he sees down there that there is Mother Sita, a very beautiful lady. Uh-huh. And then he jumps and he goes to Mother Sita, and then they have the whole conversation of who he is, and he's a messenger of Lord Ram, etc. But then she gets intimidated when he comes too close, and then he presents the ring as a signification of the fact that he's truly the servant of Lord Ram. And after that conversation, he says, so it's a little humorous, our presentation. Yeah. After the conversation, he says, but Mata, I am really hungry. And he tells her the whole story of how he crossed the ocean, and then he also wrestled with Lankini, etc. And then Mother Sita says, yeah, you look at all these fruits and flowers, they're all for you. And then Hanuman is so happy, he says, thanks, Mom. And then he just runs out to explore the garden, eat all the fruits and everything. And then, at that time, one of the guards of Ravana catches him by the tail. And then Hanuman cannot move, and he turns and he sees that there is this guard, and then more people come and they arrest Hanuman and bring him in front of Ravana. And the scene opens like this, that Ravana is in his palace, nicely curling his mustache. Mm-hmm. And then Hanuman is brought before Ravana, and then Ravana is like, oh, this is a weird creature. And then he says, you weird, who are you? And then Hanuman says, I am Hanuman, the servant of Lord Ram. And then Ravana says, Hanu who?
Hanu who? Hanu who?
And then they have the whole conversation where he insults Ravana and glorifies Lord Ram. And then Ravana is angry, but he's also just like, he's just a monkey. And then he says, you talk too much, let's kill him. And then he takes this decision, and his guards come to attack Hanuman. At that time, Vibhishana interrupts, and he gives the whole law book of an experience and says that you cannot. Mm-hmm. And then they have a debate, Ravana and Vibhishana, and eventually Ravana says, okay, I don't kill him directly, I just kill him indirectly. So we we set his tail on fire. It's a great insult to a monkey. Mm-hmm. They set his tail on fire, And then Hanuman starts looking at his tail and he starts laughing vehemently. And then Ravana said, I knew you were weird. And then after that, Hanuman says, let me show you. And then he takes his tail and he goes he starts laughing even more louder. And he climbs every building top and sets the whole Lanka on fire.
That expanded into the whole story of Hanuman's visit to Lanka. Nice, okay. You said it would involve all four of you?
Yeah, I would have, but she is really talkative.
Ah, okay. Good, thank you. Who else wants to share something? Yes, back here.
Hare Krishna. The point is that everybody should be absorbed in Ramayana. The persons who playing, they are do it very.
If you can hold the microphone a little closer. Yes.
The persons who played on the scene, they're doing this excellently.
В зале всем, которые находятся в зале, им всем выданы слова. 10 сит, 10 хануманов, слова выданы. Ну, спектакль. Я не понимаю. Ну, слова спектакля.
Hard to translate.
Yes. For everybody who is in the room who sing this drama.
The audience, yes.
Yeah, the audience. They have the list of words. Список слов.
Да.
И какие слова?
Данной роли. Ну, Хануман.
And everybody's words for everybody who playing. They have this.
They have the script.
Yes.
И когда, допустим, говорит Хануман, то из зала этот озвучивает Ханумана слова.
So when Hanuman is speaking, then somebody from the audience reading his words, but he's quiet on the scene.
He's reading the words, but?
Yeah, from the audience, somebody reading words of this person who playing.
Okay.
He just playing and...
Да, но зал это не слышит только тот, кто говорит, диктует, и он слышит весь спектакль.
And it's like phonogramma, like the back voice from, and nobody's hear this person who reading, but audience think that it's words of this person on the stage.
В зале может быть 10 хануманов, 10 сит, 10 рам, ну, в общем, всех.
And then the person who read the words changes every time.
И все озвучивают свою роль.
And everybody goes like this, speaking for someone who on the stage.
И все так живут Рамаяной.
And they absorbing in this Ramayana drama like this.
Прямо в зале.
That is all.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's interesting idea. I would have to think some more about how that would exactly work, but I think your idea is interesting because it's involving all of the audience in a sense directly in the performance, and that's a very postmodern idea. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Mangala Chandrika. Microphone here. Switch. There's on the side a switch.
Okay, thank you. So we were focusing mainly on the actual scene of Hanuman having already the tail on fire and thinking of what he should do now. So the narrator would be the one expressing his inner thoughts of creative thoughts of what he can do now. And of course, with every good drama, you have to have very good music. So we would have very dramatic music playing in the background. And yeah, I forgot to say that we know who narrator would be. Madhava's dad.
Oh.
He assigned all the roles already.
Yeah.
And you would do the Ravanaya. And so the Hanuman would be dressed up as a warrior, and he would have this fire. If you know this performance with fire.
Oh.
So this would be like the fire juggler who would juggle the fire around the stage and dance as he goes. And the rest of us would be lighting like fire candles. And of course there would be percussions, heavy percussions playing as this dramatic scene is evolving. And I think there would be a lot of inner dialogue of Hanuman as well, with narrator expressing what he's going through. Yeah, that's it? I have to add something?
That's very nice, thank you. So what would be some of the thoughts of Hanuman? And what would be some of the thoughts of Hanuman? You said the narrator would be portraying these thoughts.
So I think initially we'd start with him having some anxiety over being caught, but then seeing it as an opportunity. And then when they mentioned that they might kill him, the inner conflict, and the narrator sort of going and telling the audience that, oh gosh, I don't want to die, I need to do more to save Sita Devi, etc. And then when finally they do set his tail alight, he then gets very excited, and you see all his excitement come out in his thoughts. This is my chance, this is my moment, let me seize it. I think Madhava was going to play the Hanuman who was going to dance around and set everything on fire. We could see all the excitement, and he would be, and over to this one, and onto this one, and next where should I go, and all the thoughts coming out.
So Madhava's all ready to play the part of Hanuman.
He's assigned all the roles already.
He's assigned all the roles, okay. Nice, thank you. Who else? Yes?
So, Prabhuji here had a brilliant idea that we focused on Hanuman getting caught, and with his intellect, him sort of planning to get caught. So perhaps there's a narrator. Perhaps there's a narrator saying Hanuman's, a genius, and he's planned to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of the punishment, Hanuman has sort of figured out that they're going to set his tail on fire. We're not sure how yet. We haven't worked that bit out. And once they start to try and set his tail on fire, they can't really set it on fire. For some reason, it doesn't burn. There's not enough, like a wick. Like a wick on a lamp, there's nothing enough to catch fire to. So then Hanuman actually gives them an idea. He laughs like a crazy monkey, and he says, "No, you fools! You need some cotton to get some cotton. Buy some cotton, wrap it around my tail." So there's a big hunt on.
First, take some cotton, and then get some oil and pour it in the cotton. Then.
So then the guards sort of start laughing at him, like he really is a crazy person, So there's a whole hunt on to find enough cotton, and Hanuman says, "No, the tail's not long enough," and so they keep finding more and more cotton. Eventually, he realizes, okay, my tail's long enough now to whip around and start a fire. But one of the guards pauses and thinks, well, why does he have such a long tail? And Hanuman uses his brain again and says, well, actually, I don't want my bottom to catch on fire, so that by the tail being quite long, it will take a long time before the fire reaches me. So he's trying to put off the inevitable. And then he escapes, and he finds some areas where there's sort of inflammable devices, like kegs of whiskey or whatever they used to drink, the armies would drink on. He finds lamps, and he jumps from building to building and uses his tail like a lasso kind of thing, and sort of just causes mayhem.
It sounds like for this it would have to be done with film instead of on the stage. But that's okay. Good. Thank you. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I would have never thought of that. Hanuman is helping them to understand how to light his tail. That's good. That's interesting. Thank you. Others, we have a group back here, and
Hare Krishna. We are Balinese, so we would like to present in our Balinese way of Ramayana, and in the part of usually we express it in dancing.
Yes.
Dance performance.
Yes.
And the scene start from, the scene of this Hanuman Buddha, it start from the many maidservants of Ravan. They're together. They're in the Asokawan, and their Sita Devi said, and from background, which from the background of the tree, they look like a Hanuman looking. Oh, maybe that's Mother Sita. And after all the maidservant gone, then he came to Mother Sita. He come to Mother Sita, and he present himself as a messenger from Ram, and showing the.
Not yet, but Sita doesn't.
But Sita not yet convinced. So he showed the ring given from Ram, and then Sita Devi convinced, and then he speak to Hanuman that please tell Ram to come, then I'm still okay, and like that. And this is the proof, and he give one of his jewelry, of her jewelry to Hanuman. And after that exchange, he jumped out, and there he caught by the guard of that Asokawan, and brought in front of Ravan. At that moment, because while doing that, he's like looking around to the city, what is going on, when that is this like strategically, and then in front of Ravan, he thought that Ravana and to teach Hanuman a lesson, Ravan asked the guard to burn Hanuman's tail. And after that tail burn, he is like jumping around, and with excitedly, and they're a little bit like comical, dancing in that comical part, like Samar and Samar running on the fire or something like that, like because there we use like little bit real fire also in the music.
You'd have real fire on stage. Yes. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Especially if it burns down the theater.
Yes.
Sometimes it's this real fire.
Yeah,
and
they
then,
do in Bali.
They do it in Bali. And then the Kechak dance. The music, they are performed by the sound of the people. Like, like chaka 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 chaka, like that.
Oh,
and then
the audience. The audience.
Not the audience. The performance.
Some musicians. Yeah.
Music from the mouth, like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
yes.
very interesting. Thank
very
you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
This mentioning of dance reminds me, I've heard about this, I haven't seen it, but one of the dance performance styles in Kerala, I believe is called Kattiyatam. And I have read about a performance which was telling the story of creation, of the universe, through dance. And this, how long did this dance go? It went for, I think it was 32 hours. Yeah. So how does that work? Well, that's one way of, we generally think of a performance of a stage, okay, maybe it goes for an hour, maybe 2 hours. There was a Mahabharata performance done by, what's his name, Peter Bergman, no. He created a Mahabharata. It was performed in Paris with an international performers, and the performance went for 9 hours. The same was then translated, so to say, into film, and you can find that film. It's about 5.5 hours. Yeah, I personally very much like that. Some devotees don't like it at all because Krishna is portrayed as a kind of, 55-year-old person, and he speaks with a slight, not Italian accent, I forget what his accent is, but Arjuna definitely has an Italian accent. And Bhishma is, I believe he's from Ethiopia, and he's this little short, thin guy. But other than that, it's quite well done. Anyway, dance, yes, lots can be done with dance. Briefly, if you wanted to, yes, just you wanted to add a little something. So I want to go.
Mike.
No?
Mike.
Oh, okay. I was pointing back here, but no, you please speak. Go ahead.
My group was also thinking how to put the stage on fire, and then we came, and I don't know the technical term, but we thought of doing with shadows, having a screen, and in background having objects, and then with shadowing, showing the scene with blocks, and so the buildings and setting in fire and so.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, different kinds of technology might be used to give the impression, give the sense of fire, of course. But also sound, and also drums, as you mentioned, and yeah, so many things. Okay, thank you. Encourage everyone. Okay, one again, adding something. Maybe you can just summarize without having to go back and forth.
Задача погрузить зрителей, коротко. Задача погрузить зрителей в спектакль.
the case is for absorbing the audience to the drama.
Артисты и зал нету границ.
There is no borders between the actors and the audience.
Хануман, Сита, обезьяны прямо бегают в зале.
They're running through audience. These actors who playing drama.
Хануман может спросить у какой-то бабушки, Ситу не видели?
Hanuman can ask someone in audience, where is Sita? Where is Sita? Is.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice idea. Yes. Again, involving the audience, asking the audience, where is Sita? I think that makes a very nice seg into what I want to do now, if we can turn this on. Let us now go to Vrindavan, and let us go to where the gopis have met with Krishna, only to have the heartbreaking experience that Krishna disappears, and then seeking him in the forest. They speak with the various denizens of the forest, asking them, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And at one point, they say, let us ask these creepers about Krishna. Even though they are embracing the arms of their husbands, this tree, they certainly must have been touched by Krishna's fingernails, since out of joy they are manifesting eruptions on their skin. So this is it's a kind of footnote here that the gopis are using their reasoning to understand where Krishna must be. So here they apply a bit of anuman, some reasoning that certainly they must have been touched by Krishna's fingernails. Why? Because this must be a cause of an effect, which we now see. What is that? Since out of joy they are manifesting eruptions on their skin. Right? Anyway, but that's kind of peripheral to what we want to look at. The next verse. Having spoken these words, the gopis, distraught from searching for Krishna, began to act out his various pastimes, fully absorbed in thoughts of him. One gopi imitated Putana, while another acted like infant Krishna and pretended to suck her breast. Another gopi, crying in imitation of infant Krishna, kicked a gopi who was taking the role of the cart demon, Shakadasura. One gopi took the role of Trinavarta and carried away another who was acting like infant Krishna, while yet another gopi crawled about, her ankle bells tinkling as she pulled her feet. And like this, we get several verses describing how the gopis are imitating Krishna, reenacting the pastimes of Krishna, and at one point, this is verse 19, another gopi, her mind fixed on Krishna, walked about with her arm resting on the shoulder of a friend and declared, I am Krishna. Just see how gracefully I move. So imitating Krishna is performed. This is a kind of performance. In this case, who are the gopis performing for? They're performing for each other. And why are they performing? Okay, we can say to relieve their pain of separation. Anything else you could think of might be a reason or part of the logic of their performing? Yes. Yes, they're being with Krishna again. They're invoking Krishna. Krishna is becoming present through their reenactment of Krishna's pastimes. And then this becomes sort of explicit, you can say, in verse 19, when one of the gopis sort of prances, sort of struts about, we can say, and says, "I am Krishna, just see how gracefully I move." So that's kind of fun, isn't it? I like to think of this as the primordial scene of acting. The primordial situation of acting for the devotee is the feeling of Krishna's absence. Where is Krishna? In that feeling and searching, the devotees invoke Krishna and make Krishna present. Maybe just a couple more. No, one more verse. "Don't be afraid of the wind and rain," said one gopi. "I will save you." And with that, she lifted her shawl above her head. So this would be an interesting scene that one could reenact, the gopis. Okay, we can turn... Oh, wait, don't turn it off. Let's see if I can shift this now. Oops, that's my notes. Here, okay. All right, time goes so quickly. Well, I warned you on the first day that I started playing around with some ideas for a drama involving Hiranyakashipu. Now, little history to this. It was Nrsimha Chaturdasi 2019, I believe, in Singhachalam. And it was this morning program, and Parividha Prabhu had assigned parts to each of us. We read through the story, basically the Bhagavatam, and then we were, I think about 5 of us, devotees were asked to briefly speak on the occasion, the subject of the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. And somehow it happened. I was the first. I was at one end of the lineup, so I was asked to speak first. And I spoke something about Hiranyakashipu, in a sense suggesting that maybe we should not think of him as being entirely evil. Well, His Holiness Kandamakanana Swami did not like that idea at all. When it was his turn to speak, he said, Hiranyakashipu was completely evil through and through. He was a demon. There's no question about it. Well, it sort of, were you there? Anyone was there? No. It sort of turned into a spontaneous debate. And we were kind of going back and forth like lawyers for and against Hiranyakashipu. And this got me thinking that this could possibly be developed. But I haven't developed it very far, and I thought I'll just share with you what I did sort of jot down at one time. And let's see if this sparks your thinking. If I may, can I sort of share this with you? It's just to get you thinking about this. So, Hiranyakashipu, he's been killed, okay? The drama is over. Whenever we perform Nrsinga Leela in the temples, there's always at the end, the grand finale, right, is that Nrsingadev comes out roaring, and he's roaring. But now that's all over, and Hiranyakashipu has been killed. But now is his after that time, his afterlife. And he's feeling some sort of love-hate relationship with the person, whoever that was, who killed him. He was like some sort of monster. And yet, there was a strangely unfathomable softness in his glance. Even as his nails, I should say his claws, dug into my gut, there was simultaneously excruciating pain and exquisite peace. No, I'm not a masochist. It was inconceivable. I must meet him again. Somehow I must meet him again. Narada is sitting perhaps in a chair, perhaps sort of plucking on a guitar. And he says, I'm sure you will meet him again, but I cannot say how it will happen. Indeed, I wonder myself how it will happen. Well, if I can be of any help, when you saw him, what did he look like? Hiranyakashipu is pacing back and forth, and he says, like no one I've ever seen, yet somehow familiar. Actually, I'm not sure I saw him. One moment he was here, the next moment not here, but over there. Then completely invisible. And how he roared. The sound came simultaneously from everywhere. And then, as if hearing him again, Hiranyakashipu suddenly starts and he looks off in the distance, and Narada says, they say that the Supreme Person is everywhere, so it makes sense. They also say that he is equal to everyone, so it stands to reason that he would be located equally everywhere. Hiranyakashipu, but if he is equal to all, why he killed me? And Narada's laughing, and he says, don't you see? He didn't really kill you. Otherwise, how is it that you are here now, talking, walking? You look to be in full health, sir. Hiranyakashipu is confused. Now that you mention it, you did say something about food, didn't you? I'm starved. Got anything to eat? And there's, that's Hiranyakashipu. Narada says, let me have a look. And he looks in his shoulder bag and says, why, yes, here's some coconut pieces. This should hold you over long enough. Hiranyakashipu takes the coconut and he's sitting next to Narada and he says, long enough? What do you mean, long enough? Oh, nothing. Well, you'll see in due course. Besides, subtle bodies don't really need to eat. Subtle bodies? What are you talking about? Now Narada stands up and he begins pacing and he says, oh, nothing really. I'll explain, but first, do help yourself. And he gestures to the coconut. And Hiranyakashipu says, I can't get him out of my mind. Actually, this was always the problem, to the point that I felt tortured from within. And Prahlad, of course, he was right all along. But he really didn't help matters by his constant praise of Vishnu. And how he would talk to me as if he was the father and I was the son, or like he was the teacher and I the student. And Narada says, what Prahlad said to you, don't you agree? It was actually good advice? Do you remember what he said? Hiranyakashipu, and then he laughs and he says, he advised me to go to the forest. And that's as far as I got. So now, your task, your mission, if you should accept it, is to help me continue from there. You're all looking at me like, what? Where do we want this to go? Well, as I said, it seems to me, well, there's a couple of things I marked here. One is, somehow I must meet him again. And the other, I can't get him out of my mind. So this may help you to think, what sort of mood, feel do we want? But also the question in my mind is, how does Hiranyakashipu become Ravana? It seems to me that something needs to transition him from being Hiranyakashipu, what was Hiranyakashipu's problem? Lust, anger, greed. What can we say was his main problem?
He just wants to kill his own son. This is one of the worst. One of the worst things that he wants to kill his own son.
Okay. Yes.
And he himself wanted to be the supreme entity.
He wants to be.
He could not tolerate that
the
there
master
was
of all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
If we just look at lust, anger, pride, greed, amongst these qualities, I feel for Hiranyakashipu, anger and pride were what really brought him down.
Anger and pride, okay, yes. And, yes.
Hare Krishna, I would say envy is the most problem of Hiranyakashipu. Envy that he is not immortal, that he is not the highest.
Okay. That could be also perhaps something of all of these points. What would you say is the problem of Ravana? Immediately everyone says lust. Okay. So how would we go now from Hiranyakashipu's problems to Ravana's problems? Or do we want to say they're actually all the same in different degrees? But how do we get Hiranyakashipu prepared to appear as Ravana? that's, I think, one question that you could address. Does that make any sense? Now, another possibility, and I sort of mentioned this in my little debate with Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, it became something like a courtroom drama, and I was thinking perhaps of involving Yamaraj, but there could also be, one could make it quite complex. One could have a jury, and of course we would need a defense lawyer, or perhaps the defense lawyer would be Prahlad. I'm just putting some ideas out there, but now you have some paper and you have some pens, and what I would like is that you start sketching ideas, and I hope you'll write clearly enough so that it'll be possible to read, and eventually I would like to receive your notes, and they may help me to work on this drama. So I'm asking you to please help me to develop this drama. Is that all right? You didn't sign up for this, did you? But I did sort of warn you on the first day. So we have not a whole lot of time. We have a little over 15 minutes. So maybe you can just sketch, do some brainstorming first. You know what is a brainstorm? Technically, brainstorming means you have an idea and you simply note it without judging it. And one way to do this, it's done in impromptu theater. Impromptu, what's the word I want? Is one person says something and the other person says, yes, and. So you always go with yes, and. You can add to that, you can say, yes, I'm improvisational theater, that's the word I wanted. You can say, yes, and that means ... Or you can leave it more open, yes, and then you just bring in a new idea and a new idea, and in this way. Does that make any sense at all? Yes, no, maybe, kind of, Hare Krishna. Let's see what happens. Someone wrote a script of this drama?
No, just he was just explaining. It was just like like that. This kind of different slant on that.
That's one of our previous acharyas that I would really like to meet. That's such an interesting character himself.
So this is, he's like in between talking and
yeah, that's my thought. There's
I was
a transition.
about that. I wish I knew more of what that it would seem like really intriguing to see ethos ideas into this.
Yes, that would also kind of make the whole thing more sort of bona fide instead of just my speculation. I would think that Hari Parsha he's a walking encyclopedia of Vedic lore. If I may interrupt briefly, just to say, I'm already encouraged to see that ideas are coming. I see some of you are really going for it, and so I would like to encourage you to keep thinking about this over the next few hours, and please come back tomorrow for our session, because as I said, I'm asking for your help. And if you have any further ideas, please note them, and let's continue. Okay? What do you think? Is this a good thing, what we're doing? Yes? No? Good. Still, it's a little bit out of our comfort zone, isn't it? That's good. Okay. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock, so I'm sort of keeping to the time. If whoever of you, single or in a group, you want to continue talking with each other, that's fine, but I'm going to sort of wrap up and make a move. So I'm going to say thank you all so much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.